Welcome to Infinity Synth, a robust sample-based synthesizer which expands the opportunities you have to create your own amazing instruments and sound libraries. In this video, we're going to briefly walk through Infinity Synth's features, including an extensive catalog of built-in samples, parameters like oscillators and mods, a rack for effects, and the option to save your own presets. Before we dive in, let's start with some quick sound demos. Samples are the heart of Infinity Synth, so let's start by talking about how to load in a sound. In the top left, there's a magnifying glass which presents a large view of Infinity Synth's massive library. The left column has a variety of sample packs. On the right, you have all the individual samples within a pack. Over time, we've added everything from classical instruments like pianos, violins, cellos, and clarinets, all the way to techno-style pulse synths and square waves. There's also a smaller version of the preset browser located in the center of the plugin, or a drop-down menu you can use for quicker access. Once you've selected a sound, Infinity Synth will load the sample, along with some default parameters and effects. There may be rare cases where the sound doesn't load properly and nothing is audible. If this happens, you can click the refresh button to re-download and refresh the sample. Producers can also import third-party virtual instruments using SFZs, enabling access to sounds outside of Infinity Synth's library. For more information, check out the short video linked in the description. Now let's run down the options you have to change up your sound. Starting on the left, you have a frequency filter, which runs in real time so you can visually see what it's doing. You can drag around the knob or the sliders. And change the type of cut, for instance to a low pass or high pass filter, with the presets at the top right corner. The oscillator below it determines how fast it cycles left to right, with higher speeds giving it that characteristic swishing. Next up is the filter and envelope controls, which represent how the gain and filter will change over time. As you shift parameters around, you'll see the changes reflected in the graphs and how the sound travels along the curves. If you take your mouse to the curves themselves and drag, you can make them more bendy or linear. So we can make a couple of different types of sounds. The XY player is an arpeggiator, which you drag around to play notes. You can change the tone and its corresponding scales, in this case C and its minor pentatonic. Moving on to the right side, we have the effects rack, which is where you can load in any Stagecraft or third-party plugin onto your instrument. Some instruments by default already have effects, but you can change them or add new ones to the drop-down menus. Below that, you can deactivate the effect without removing it from the rack, or open the plugin in a standalone window so you can have complete control over it. Now we can talk about automation. Most Stagecraft software plugins have their own automation, but the benefit of Infinity Synth is that, with the inclusion of the effects rack, you can control the parameters of any other effect that's loaded in. You can also control parameters of Infinity Synth itself, like the gain envelope or filter frequency. So, if you wanted to manipulate the pitch on this piano so that it cycles every half measure, you can simply add it to the automation rack and change the oscillation frequency. Then, on the bottom right, we have the mods. These modify the way the instrument sounds based on the three elements of playing: velocity, aftertouch, and release. Velocity is how hard you strike the key. Aftertouch is the pressure when the key is down, and release is how quickly you let go of the key. You can attach parameters to any one of these elements, whether it's from the plugin itself or the effects in the effects rack, to give a whole dimension to your playing. The simplest example of a mod would be applying voice gain to velocity, meaning the harder you strike a key, the louder the instrument will be. As another example, we could add oscillator frequency to aftertouch, so holding the key down will add some frequency shifting. After you've finished creating your instrument, you can save it as a preset so that, at any point, you can use it again without having to reconstruct it. Just click this folder with a plus icon, add a name to your preset, and click Save. It will be stored in your user folder. And that's it. With all these tools under your belt and the ability to create presets, you can craft a whole host of sounds based on the core samples. We hope this video was helpful for getting started with this powerful and flexible synth. You can purchase Infinity Synth or download a 30-day free trial with the link in the description. While you're there, check out all of our other stuff. We have lots to offer, like effects, instruments, and great tools for producers. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.